everybody. Welcome back for another edition of Open House. Now, today I'm joined by Vicky Sanderson. And Vicky, you have Around the House. Great website.
Yes, I have a website called aroundthehouse.ca, and it's where I put all sorts of information about how to live life at home more beautifully, more comfortably, more energy efficiently, and all sorts of great tips.
So what we've done is we've gone to Vicky and said, okay, anything to do with the house, what do we want to talk about? And I love this first topic that we're going to be talking about because when I go shopping for linens, I don't know what I'm shopping for. I mean, thread count, is it thread count I'm looking for? Is it bamboo or cotton or linen or satin, or how do I buy the right sheets? And then how do I make them last? Because I find that they don't have a long life.
Well, you are not alone in not knowing really what you're looking for, because across the board, I think it's difficult for people to understand. There are so many sort of elements to what makes good linen. One of the things you mentioned is thread count, and that's probably seems to be the biggest one, something that really people kind of latch on to. But it's not the only determining factor. Thread count basically means the number of threads that go this way and then that way in a square inch.
So how tightly woven it is.
How tightly woven it is. So theoretically, you would think, well, 1,000 thread count sheet must be excellent. Except the issue there is that there's no real regulation on that, so that you could have, say, a 440 thread count sheet that was made from very good cotton, long fiber, very stable textile, and you could have 1,000 thread count sheet that was made up by combining lots of smaller, weaker threads. Oh. So it's not necessarily a determining factor.
Okay.
One of the things is where the cotton is grown. The best cotton is determined to be from Egypt. It's a very long fiber. It's very stable. It's very soft. It's known throughout the world as being really good cotton. However, there's also lots of cotton coming out of India, China, Pakistan. So where the cotton is grown has some bearing. Then where it's milled and how it's milled is another factor. So I mean, largely speaking, you can kind of use price as a determining factor, in that if you see 1,000 thread count sheets at the supermarket for $29.99,
probably not the greatest.
Not the greatest. In terms of fabric, that often becomes, it's really just a preference. You're right that there's cotton, there's bamboo, there are new synthetic fabrics. There's one called microfibers. There's tencel, which is made from eucalyptus fiber. So a lot of it comes down in the end to personal preference.
So it's how it actually feels to the touch, maybe?
Exactly, right on. That's what I was going to say. Your biggest tip I can give you is when you're shopping for linens, take the linens out of the package and feel it. So I brought along a few samples from a Toronto store called O'Lee Fine Linens, and they actually have a really great thread count bar in there, so that you can go in and actually look and see what you can get. But just for example, okay, feel that.
It feels very smooth.
It feels very smooth. Now run your hand. That is the 220 per kale from O'Lee Fine Linen. This is a plain white sheet from a big box.
It feels rough, not sandpaper rough, but rougher.
Much rougher, much rougher. So that is your sort of baseline.
Difference.
Take it out of the package, feel it, and see how you like it. Now, this is the same thread count, but that is a satin finish.
I was going to say, this looks really, and it is. It looks really smooth.
And that is it's the same cotton, but it's a slightly different weave. And again, that is a personal preference. I prefer the crispness of this, but many people like the soft sort of sheen of that. And then another one of my personal favorites is linen. Okay. Linen is made from the flax plant. And again, a personal preference, but just has a different feel.
Now, linen would be nice and cool, wouldn't it?
It's very cool because it's so breathable, cool in summer and warm in winter. It is less crisp than the cottons, so you get a more casual, wrinkled look. actually okay with that. I love the kind of casual look of linen. But if you're somebody who's very fastidious, you probably want to go for something more
Now, what
cotton.
about something like, I know my hairdresser always saying you should really sleep on satin because it's so good for your hair, but satin makes me sweat.
Well, one of the beauties of satin is that it's a very smooth, fine finish. Feels lovely under the hand, but I'm with you. It's a bit dense for me. I don't like to sleep under satin, and I don't really like satin pillowcases because I feel like my head's
Slippery.
slipping around. But people who love it a lot. And one sort of compromise you could make would be to do sheets in cotton and pillowcases in satin.
Okay, very good. Now, my other issue with mine, and I do like to go buy nice sheets, and it's such a, oh, isn't there, is there anything better than getting home with those beautiful new sheets and put them on the bed? And then you wash them and they're not quite the same. What am I doing wrong?
Well, you're not doing anything wrong that a lot of other people aren't. What I will say is that if you treat linen well, it can last for generations. And just as an example, these are obviously not bed linen, table linens from my husband's grandmother.
Oh, wow.
And he's 63.
So wow.
So that shows you how long they can last. Your my number one tip for that is don't put your linens in the dryer.
Oh, okay.
For 9 months out of the year, I dry them outside on the line. If the weather's inclement, I might just hang them over a door. If you must put them in a dryer, don't do it for more than 15 minutes, and do it on a low heat. And that's partly because the heat will weaken those fibers, not only the fiber but the structure of the weave. So you really want to avoid that wherever possible. And of course, drying them on the line, you get the added benefit of that gorgeous smell. The other thing you want to do is be careful about what you wash them in. You can use a specialty linen cleaner, linen detergent, but you can also just pick something big brand that's not as harsh.
Just a gentle
detergent in warm or cool water, and keep them out of the dryer.
And I have to ask, is this just so we can have a cocktail before we go to sleep, or?
Well, it's a little bit early for that, but that is just to, and I have this recipe on my website. You can also buy fancy, lovely linen waters, but you can also take about a teaspoon of vodka, add your favorite essential oil to it, and then add it to distilled water and put it in a spray bottle, and you've got your own,
Really?
Yeah, your own custom-made linen water. And I love to do that. I spray the beds every day when I make it, and the pillowcases as well.
That's a great tip. And you have lots of great tips on your website.
I do, aroundthehouse.ca.
Aroundthehouse.ca. And if you want to know more about Vicky, go there. If you want to connect to all my social media, where we'll find these videos and a whole lot more, go to my website, SharonCaddy.com, and check in frequently. Lots going on here on Open House.